Over the last few years, 3D printers have gotten really good, but they're still not perfect. So in this video, I'm going to share with you my sort of annual report card, as well as my wish list for the features and improvements that I and many of you want to see in the coming year, both industry-wide and on a per manufacturer basis. And stick around to the end because I'm not going to hold back. So grab your popcorn and let's get after it. First, let's talk about the industry-wide changes that I and many of you hope to see implemented. In case you missed it, Prusa recently announced their OpenPrintTag NFC standard and made it available for all major manufacturers to adopt. Besides being hopefully universal, this tag provides a lot of benefits over the existing proprietary solutions, ranging from tracking remaining filament on the spool to mobile phone inventory scanning, reusability, and much more. It's really exciting, and I recommend that you check it out using the link in the description and nag your favorite manufacturers to get them to adopt it soon. So without a doubt, my #1 biggest wishlist item for next year is just to see more manufacturers, both of filament and of 3D printers, adopting this standard once and for all. In addition, this last year was really the year that OrcaSlicer took over the consumer 3D printing world. I actually did a whole huge rant about this in a previous video, so I'm not gonna belabor the point here, but I will just say that across the board, whether it's Bambu Lab, Prusa, or any of the other companies in the industry, your users demand deep mainline OrcaSlicer integration. I'm talking about a full range of profiles for every nozzle size, which are pulled into the next release of OrcaSlicer to come out before your printer ships to customers. I'm talking about being able to map filaments right within the slicer, not only your fork of it, and full access to your printer's web interfaces, remote access utility, farm software, or any other utilities you offer right within the device tab of OrcaSlicer. With the industry-wide wishes out of the way, let's now switch over to the manufacturer-specific ones. I test a lot of 3D printers, so it really stands out to me when one brand is missing a feature that the rest of them already have. But before we dive in, I do just want to note that this list is obviously going to be heavily influenced by the printers that I have access to and use the most. In other words, if I have a lot of suggestions for one brand but none for another, that doesn't necessarily mean that one brand is better than the other ones. It's just that I have more experience or day-to-day usage with the former. And on that note, let's start it off with the OG iconic 3D printer brand, Prusa Research. Dear Prusa Research. I got you guys. We're not gonna go there again. But on a serious note, 2025 has been an incredible year for Prusa Research, and I am loving the pace of new releases, their renewed focus on consumer desktop 3D printing, and just this energy of collaboration. It's a seriously good look. The Core 1 and Core 1L are, for the most part, spectacular machines, and I'm extremely excited to get my hands on the new Core 1 Index and the half dozen or so other products that Prusa has been launching at both Prusa Day and Formnext. So do make sure that you're subscribed and you hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on that video as soon as it drops, because apparently 73% of you guys watching this aren't actually even subscribed to the channel, and that makes me almost as sad as a reskinned version of OrcaSlicer. Almost. With all that praise out of the way though, there are a number of things that I really want to see the folks over in Prague improve on in the coming year. First, I really want to see an updated user interface. I know it's a seemingly very superficial thing, but if you watch any car reviewer, for example, one of the biggest gripes they always have has to do with touchscreen interfaces and responsiveness. And I feel like when Prusa introduces PrusaSlicer 3.0 with its refreshed interface, we could really benefit from an updated UI on the printers as well. Also, guys, please, pretty please, we need adaptive pressure advance. The load cell is right there in the toolhead, and no amount of profiles is as good as the printer just calibrating things by itself. Besides that, a lot of my gripes, both past and present, were suddenly made null and void at Formnext this year. A couple of small things do remain though. For example, nozzle brushes.
Look at that. They fixed it. Nice.
And while we're taking inspiration from other brands, pre-feeders. Manually loading 5 filaments on the XL is bad enough, but 8 or even 10 on the Core 1L Index is going to require me to take a half day every single time I need to change all of the filaments. Also, next generation of the products, can we please get a quick swap nozzle? Because this is the worst. And just one last one. Can we talk about Prusa? I love it, but I feel like it's rather slow. Now, I know you guys pride yourselves on material purity and not using additives and all of that, but I'd really like to see high-speed formulas for both PLA and PETG that actually keep up with what your newer machines are actually capable of. Other than that, guys, keep up the good work. As many others have already said in my YouTube comments, you guys are so back, and I love it. Call me. Now, let's talk Sovol. You guys also had a pretty big year this year. Lots of exciting new models, and most importantly, a steadfast commitment to open source software and hardware that has become extremely rare in the industry. It honestly makes it very easy for me to continue recommending your products. But there are a couple things that are now putting that in jeopardy, for me at least. First of all, I have received a number of complaints from my subscribers about customer service. You guys make really, really great printers for the price, but your customer service staff does seem to be undertrained, and they just aren't knowledgeable enough about consumer 3D printing. Second, while I love that you guys adopt open source software like Klipper and OrcaSlicer, you don't always do it correctly. For example, your printers are always running a slightly outdated and modified version of Klipper rather than pushing your changes back into the mainline version. Also, they crash if there's a % symbol in the files, which is super annoying. Now, on the hardware side, you guys have really done a great job improving the bed meshing issues that you've had in the past, but it can sometimes still be a little bit wonky on your bigger machines. And then there's the noise. Your printers are
too damn loud.
The motors, the fans, it's all too loud. What is this? Why? Please, someone out there connect Sovol with a new fan supplier. Besides that, I am going to bite my tongue because I do have some insider info on some very exciting future product strategy, but I will just say to everyone in the audience that I know how many of you in my audience are very excited about the idea of an SVO8 tool changer, and once again, you should definitely subscribe. But before we continue, and trust me, it is only going to get juicier and spicier from here, I do need to really quickly let you know about a company that I actually don't have any criticisms or suggestions for, and it's not because they're paying me for this video, but because they are just absolutely great, and that company would be PCBWay. Whether you need parts 3D printed, injection molded, CNC machined, or really anything else, PCBWay has you covered. All you need to do is upload your designs to their website, select the various options, and send it out. They'll have a real-life engineer check over it to make sure there are no expected manufacturing defects, and before you know it, the parts show up on your doorstep in flawless quality. I've actually literally never heard about anyone being disappointed with their PCBWay order, and they've been an absolute pleasure to work with. Plus, they've been supporters of this channel for literal years. So I super appreciate them, and visit the link in the description to get $5 off your first order to help support the companies that make these videos possible. Now, let's get back to it. Up next, let's talk about Elegoo, a brand that I had literally never even tried until very, very recently. Now, Elegoo has had a great year as well, with their ultra-affordable Centauri Carbon becoming a major fan favorite. And the Centauri Carbon 2, with its 350-degree hot end and multicolor capability, does look very, very promising. With that said, they've also had some major controversies this year, and while I am glad to see that they are now playing ball when it comes to open source licenses, there are a number of things that I would like to see from Elegoo in the coming year. First of all, before we even get into the hardware or the software, Elegoo, we need more transparency from you guys. Whether it's misleading customers about using open source software or leading them on about a multicolor unit that keeps getting delayed, I think I speak for the entire community and some of your brand spokespeople when I say, stop keeping us in the dark. No more secrets, no more saving face, just be straight with us. And speaking of software, I have a number of gripes there as well. Now, I understand that in order to meet the low cost of your printers, you're using very minimally powered processors, but bro, what is this backend interface? It really needs work. Like, why can't I load, unload, or extrude filament from the back end? Or why can't I upload files to the printer while it's printing? Do you want to turn away print farm customers? Because that's how you turn away print farm customers. I would say that you either need to massively improve this back end, or at the very least, give us the option to just use Mainsail. Now on the hardware side, I really don't have a lot of experience, and therefore I don't have a lot of complaints. But I will say that I am very excited to see what the cache infusion and knowledge sharing from DJI brings in the coming years. So I'll be watching you guys very closely. Now let's talk about a brand that had a little bit of a rockier year, and that is Anycubic. Sure, they did introduce some printers that looked very promising for the price, and I was genuinely excited about them at first. But reliability, at least in my experience, was a pretty big issue long-term, especially when it came to their multicolor systems. Fortunately, when I got a chance to speak to Dr. James Ouyang, CEO of the company at Formnext this year, he assured me that those problems are a thing of the past and that their new lineup, the Cobra X and the Cobra S1 Max, will be much more capable and reliable. And I sure hope that he's right, because that is by far my #1 complaint with his company's products. I'm also very glad to see that they have now published their fork of Klipper, bringing them in line with their obligations under the open source license. Still, I do feel that Anycubic doesn't quite get it all the way through. For example, they're still pushing their own fork of OrcaSlicer rather than just integrating their cloud and shipping profiles with the mainline version. What's more, last I checked, if users want to unlock the broader feature set of Klipper and do things like custom Z offsets, they need to basically jailbreak the printer using a software called Wrinkles. Why? What's more, I'd say that Anycubic, like the next brand on my list, is a company that I'd really like to see a little more innovation and first principles thinking from. Fewer, more affordable versions of other people's ideas, and more developing their own ideas. And I'm really happy to see the beginnings of that with products like the Cobra X. So full video on that coming soon. And that is a perfect segue towards Creality, a company literally known more for their massive production capacity than their innovative new ideas. Creality had a somewhat rocky year as well. Now, I loved my K2+, but many others had serious reliability issues, and the K2 Pro and the Creality High were both, let's just say, very slow sellers as far as I can tell from the outside. Now, obviously, I'd like to see more innovation from Creality. Put less of your considerable resources into replicating other people's products and more into the R&D of novel innovations. You guys are a huge company. So I'd love to see Creality take a stab at solving the tool changer problem in a new and unique way, rather than just replicating what others have done, especially when others are doing stuff that, in my opinion, is kind of silly. But I'll be honest, I'm not actually sure that that is part of the company's DNA. And to be even more honest, little inside baseball here, I'm actually really concerned about what seems like a mass talent exodus at the company. The turnover, at least in the marketing department, has been pretty alarming, and it really seems like your employees are just not happy at the company. So I'd start there. But let's take Creality at face value for what it is, because every organization has its own specialties, and Creality is bringing costs down and making technologies more accessible. So what do I feel that they can do better within their own lane? First of all, please stop making so many models. It has gotten ridiculous. I was at Formnext looking at one model that you guys had just announced, and I literally got a message in that moment from my rep asking me if I wanted to be involved in the launch of the next model that kind of replaces it. You haven't even launched this one yet. Trust me when I say that your customers are very confused by all of the different models that your various different teams are pushing out, and you never retire your old models to make way for the new ones. So please, just put the Ender 3 out to pasture already. Now let's go to the absolute opposite side of the spectrum and talk about Snapmaker, which seems to have turned over a major new leaf in 2025, going from rather niche 3-in-1 and index machines to a mass market low-cost tool changer that really is poised to capture a lot of market share. Now, there are so many things that Snapmaker is doing right now. Open source software, a very community-friendly approach, welcoming third-party manufacturers to the ecosystem. I really did mean everything that I said in my sponsored video about the U1 and the way that Snapmaker is going about launching it. In fact, besides some issues with cloud reliability, there are actually very few criticisms that I have for both Snapmaker or their products right now. So here is my wish list for 2026 and what I think the majority of you want to see from them. A 350mm cubed, 7-tool-headed U1 Max or U2, which ships with the top hat, a heated and filtered chamber, a 350°C hot end, and 120°C heated bed. If you guys can do that, ideally in the first half of the year or before Prusa ships out the Core 1L index, ideally for around $2,000 or less, you're gonna have more orders than you actually can keep up with. Though, hopefully that big investment from and others, congrats by the way, will help you do just that. Honestly, that's it for my Snapmaker wishlist, but drop a comment below if there's something else you want to see them do as well. But now, the part that I've been dreading. The part where I stop being polite and start being real. The part where we talk about Bambu Lab. Oh, Bambu Lab. There are so many things that I have to say to you guys, but I'm afraid that they may fall on deaf ears. But maybe, just maybe, after all the upheaval of the last few months, you guys will be open to criticism. Obviously, I haven't tried any of your new models for the last 2+ years, is it? But I've been watching you guys from a distance. And as I've said many times to you guys directly and in person, I genuinely want to congratulate you guys on all of your success. You guys had an incredible 2025, selling millions of printers.
100 billion? Jesus fuck.
And I do truly appreciate what you've done for consumer 3D printing as a whole. You've made it more accessible to more people, hands down. But let's not beat around the bush. You guys already know that the community is not in favor of your closed ecosystem approach, but I don't think that anyone is going to convince you to change course at this point. But on the hardware side, I think you also know what most people think of the H2C. I don't know what went wrong there, but 45 seconds is just too damn long for a color change. And if you were still actually listening to and participating in the community, you would have known that. But I actually want to take this time to address something that concerns me even more deeply than product development missteps, and that's professional conduct. One of the things that I loved and deeply admired about all of you guys when I got to know you was your healthy attitude towards competition. We want to congratulate Prusa. They're one of the pioneers of affordable desktop printing, said your blog post. You called competition, such as that from Creality, exciting, citing the benefit to the consumer and the industry as a whole. You admitted a difference of opinion on the best way forward, yes, but you wished your competitors luck in a beautiful example of sportsmanship and class. But it's easy to be classy when you're on top. True grace and sportsmanship are shown when the chips are down. And when your chips are down and your competitors are the ones seeing some well-deserved success and recognition for a change, you try to scuttle their launch with a knee-jerk teaser of a product that's months away? That's not friendly competition in my book.
And lately, I've been hearing too many rumors about what we'll just call ruthless business tactics behind the scenes.
This is not the behavior of a company that welcomes healthy, fair competition and just wants what's best for the industry. And unfortunately, it's just the latest in a series of decisions that are turning more and more people in this community against you. Now, I don't know if my words carry any weight around there anymore, or if you guys just think of me as some bitter, muckraking YouTuber who will say anything to get views and clicks. But shape up. You're better than this. One way or another, 2026 is shaping up to be the single most exciting year in consumer 3D printing history. Something tells me that your favorite brands are going to be reading the comments pretty diligently, so don't forget to leave a comment and let me know about your most requested features and improvements, or if I missed anything or was wrong about anything. Anyways, that's all for this week, but I'll see all of you on the next layer.